Saw a little bit of it in spring. Have you gotten a better feel for how it's going to unfold?
Yeah, we still talk about it, each and every day. How can we get better? How can we implement some things? But I kind of look at it just like in every other aspect of special teams. You kind of have to build it like a house. Like you got to start with the foundation, then build up from it. So we still have to work some technique things. I mean, at the essence of it is still kickoff return in the second light. So we still got to build it, but we have had a lot of good time, good talk about it. Even the players having their feedback. One thing I really wanted to kind of put an added emphasis on is the players' feedback. They're the ones playing it. What's comfortable for them? What do they feel is working? And that communication between myself and the players is essential for us to being pretty successful in this. But again, it's I'm looking forward to Thursday to see Houston and Chicago, see what it looks like from their end, and how can we get better from that.
Especially if Jake just takes it through the back of the end zone as he's been doing. 30 instead of the 25. Is that really that big a difference?
I mean, that goes into talks. When we get closer to game time, obviously we're still 5.5 weeks until we're down in Brazil, so that's more of a closer talk when we get closer to game planning situations. But that's always an option. But for right now, we got to make sure we could cover and make sure we could block when it comes to kickoff return.
Last week you worked on get off. Does that discipline change with the new kickoff rule?
Yeah, I mean, it's different. I mean, you get a guy that's been in the league 5-6 years, they're waiting for the kicker to run past them. Now they kind of have to wait until to see if the ball hits the ground or once the returner catches the ball. So it's just different. So the more times we could do it, the more comfortable we could get, the better the get off we could get, and that helps us in our kickoff coverage.
Does the philosophy on personnel for the kickoff, does that change at all? Do you need a different type of player to kind of play that role?
And that's another question that everyone has to answer going forward. But I think our personnel that we have now, we have a good balance and variety of the people we have. We have some corners that are bigger than some corners. We got some linebackers that could run. We got DN outside linebackers that are pretty athletic in space. So the more we can get on film, whether that's a joint practice or a preseason or just us going 11 versus 11, just to see how can we mesh the best 11 out there, we will, but that just comes with time and practice.
Have you figured out?
Sample size. You guys have some different options for returners. Do you expect to get a large enough sample size to know what you have when it comes time to make those decisions?
Yeah, I think you have ample of opportunities from the day you start camp till that first regular season game with the 3 preseason games, the joint practice we have in New England, and just the work we have here. We'll be able to get a good sample size. And again, there's no perfect build of what the best kickoff returner is going to be. I mean, it could be a small guy, it could be a guy going downhill. Well, that's the beauty and the essence of special teams. With this new rule, it gives us an opportunity to be creative, gives us an opportunity to bring back the play instead of just putting the ball down at the 25. So it's just excitement and curiosity really going forward.
I know who stood out to you so far?
I know the special teams community is a little close-knit around the league. With the new rule, is information still flowing, or you kind of clamp it down a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, you got guys that you are, super trustworthy with, guys you've worked for years on end that you guys may talk about it a little bit, but everyone's so busy, with these schedules, it's hard to actually get in a phone call. Your off day may be one of their busier days or vice versa. Their off day is one of our busier days. So a lot of phone tag may happen, but, with guys that you do, trust and, have the same kind of philosophy, you may ask, hey, what did you see on here? And, especially for teams that you don't play in the regular season or you won't play until hopefully the last game of the year. So it's just one of those things where you can lean on some people, but you also don't want to give out too much information.
Who stood out to you so far in practice in the special teams drills?
Yeah, I mean, that's the question everybody wants to ask, with the first week of camp. And I'm sure a few of the players reiterate, everybody looks good in shorts. We'll see today, and when the pads come on, who can be physical, who can still play fast. But again, to not pick out certain individuals. I think the guys that came through for us last year, rookies, now second-year guys, have done an outstanding job. Even these young guys, they're hungry to go. And the veterans, they know what's out there. They're not, they know who we bring in the offseason and what to expect and what our expectations are as a special teams unit. And that's really just to compete. Competition, breeds greatness. So if we're able to compete, and help each other out, it's just going to help everybody else going forward.
I saw Rich Bisaccia in Green Bay say he expects the NFL to maybe make amendments during the preseason to the new kickoff rule. Is that something that the NFL has expressed, that they're open to change as you guys figure it out, and what might that look like?
It's the beauty of special teams. Everything changes from day in and day out. From this morning to this afternoon, something may change. But, I mean, the NFL does a great job of just communicating to us what they expect. We got a couple referees in, so we'll ask them questions, pick their brain, what they're looking for the both kickoff return. But I guess that's the beauty in all of this, is that you got to stay ready and, change with the times, I guess.
How long your list is? The goal is to make more plays, right? Not just from returning, but also potentially on kickoff coverage. Is that how you view it? Like, where you can, instead of just having it automatically be a touchback and out you come, you can make a play and force a fumble and those kind of things?
Correct. And, especially playing in the Northeast, once you get into those November, December months, that ball is not going to travel. It's extremely hard to kick a ball, shoot 75 yards, whatever it may be. So you're going to have to learn how to coverage, and, you're going to have to learn how to create numbers on your own with different schemes. So just starting from here, things we do here in July 30th is going to come up come November 30th when the ball ain't traveling. Like, you got to go out there and you got to make sure those 10 guys are covering. Jake and Braden have an opportunity to show off their skills with precision and things of that nature, or whatever they have in their back pocket. So, again, what we start here is building that foundation all the way through the season.
Meeting with the officials. I've seen the sentiment elsewhere that the kicker could be more a part of the play from a coverage perspective. What guidance do you give to Jake? Because obviously that's not his specialty.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you always want to keep your kicker out of the fray. So, again, it puts onus on myself to get those 10 guys ahead of him to not let it get to Jake. There's certain rules I tell Jake in terms of him protecting himself by also giving us an opportunity if it does crack open. But it's for those 10 guys and myself to not let that ball get anywhere near Jake.
Nick kind of mentioned Brad Sealy last week. I've noticed him around here and there. How much help has he been as a sounding board to you?
I mean, Brad, has been over probably the past year and a half, 2 years, very influential on how to be a coach in the NFL. It's hard to say no to anybody that has 30-plus years of experience, 3 Super Bowl rings, been to multiple Super Bowls and may not have won. But the great thing about Brad is he's just trying to help out. He's not trying to look for anything else. He wants to be around the guys. He wants to have fun. Football is a kid sport, so the longer you can be around a kid sport as your job, you're going to do it. But Brad has been very much instrumental in myself just growing as a coach, and I'll never have the answers. By the time if I do have the answers, I know I'll be passed up and I can't go anywhere else, and I'll end up being a golf marshal somewhere. But for right now, leaning on Brad, Joe P., Tyler Brown, and just other coaches that I've learned from is very influential to myself to help these guys be as good as they possibly can be.
It's not every year that the NFL implements a change that could be, this significant. What's that been like, trying to figure it all out during this offseason?
The NFL and the change of the special teams, even for the decade I've been in, there's been a whole bunch of different changes. There used to be running head starts on kickoff. You used to be in pods, 1-yard starts. So it's just an added aspect of the coaching world. And again, we'll see how it goes. I'm sure they want to see how it goes as well, and maybe make some more excitement for everything else, or it may end up being where it's just the same thing from years previous. But the excitement and curiosity is going to be fantastic going forward, especially this month of preseason.
With the officials today, how long is your list of questions?
How long is the list of my questions?
The officials today.
I'm sure every other coach has a long list of questions. I'll just try to get my 2 cents in when I can. But if anything does pop out, if they want to ask me anything, I'll be more than happy to ask or answer their questions.
When you're looking strategically, how much of the XFL film did you study, and were you able to get ideas on how to create numbers, mismatches, and things like that? Yeah,
we watched every kick from the XFL. I think it was like 400-plus items, things of that nature. And you find out different, angles, what type of schemes did work, some sort of pin pull, whatever it may be. So there is stuff you can pull from the XFL, but you also can't get fixated on the XFL rules because it was a little bit different than what we came to as an NFL. But yeah, you're always going to look for that. You're also going to look from previous kickoffs. Hey, can you stop the film at the 40-yard line when everybody hits it, and what does everybody else do? So there's things that you can look for, not just from XFL, but years previous.
Were there 0 returns in the XFL, touchdown returns? I think I saw that stat. That there
may have been 1 or 2, but there was a few that popped. I saw a couple 92 yarders, 96, 80 yarders. There is things that have popped. So it does put the emphasis as a kickoff coverage. Like, this thing can get dangerous if you're out of a lane, if you're not using your hands to get off blocks. So it can be dangerous from a kickoff return standpoint. Vice versa, to a kickoff standpoint, it can be dangerous if you get down there, play with some violence, and you can set up your defense for a long field to protect.
Just follow up on Brooks' question. What is your biggest question to the officials right now as you really try to ramp this up?
I mean, my biggest question is, how do they envision it? I want to see what they see from their eyes. How are they looking at it? What are they really emphasizing on what they're calling, whether from a kickoff return standpoint, kickoff coverage standpoint? How are they, dealing with, the start of it? Like, can a guy possibly go a little bit quicker? Are they calling it when the ball's in the returner's vicinity or when he touches it? It's just little things that, you could probably help with a tidbit for the kickoff coverage, vice versa for the kickoff return.
Michael, did the spring give you a foundation with the Gene to have a sense of how he can help? Obviously, because he's not out there now.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the first part.
Cover the Gene. Did the spring give you a foundation with him to see how he can contribute? Because you don't have him out here right now.
Yeah, I mean, even with Coop in the spring, he was so to go. But he has such great college film. He's such a great athlete, and he's been very intent in meetings. A lot of the times for these young cats is, can they retain everything that we're giving them? Because it's not the spring where it's 6 weeks and we're kind of, by the end of the day, basically everything's in from us special teams wise in terms of our scenarios and things of that nature. But when he gets on the field, it's letting him get his feet wet, then there's an opportunity to accelerate him, to get him back to where everybody else is. So I'm not worried about that with Coop. I mean, that's the beauty of special teams. If you can run and hit and not have to think too much, you can play special teams at a high level.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.